Hello, everyone. Welcome to Foundation Center live on Facebook. We are here with Don Tebby and Susan Schaefer, who will be presenting our webinar on October 25th on how to start a consulting business. 5 questions you must answer. So to get our conversation started, Susan, Don, I wanted to ask if you had 30 seconds to give a seasoned nonprofit professional one piece of advice on starting their own consulting business, what would you tell them? Don?
Well, I would say that to come to this webinar, and because we're going to be covering some of the 5 most common asked questions by new consultants or folks that are considering starting a consulting practice. And we're also going to leave plenty of time for you to ask your own questions and get some feedback about your particular situation or your particular questions.
Great. Susan, a piece of advice?
I would just add to that, of course, coming to the webinar is a great piece of advice, but I would add that, it's important to take in all of these tidbits when you're starting consulting and then really give it an objective view and imbue it all with your own set of values and principles, because your business is what you make of it. So I think the more information you can get, the better, and then make it your own.
Absolutely. Each consultant is their own unique person, and I think you really bring that personality to your business as well. That's a great piece of advice. Moving right along, what is your experience with starting your own business or career transitions, and how will this background inform the webinar content? Susan?
Well, my own transition to consulting I always knew I wanted to give consulting a try, and it began for me when my first son was born, and the kind of rigors of a job with a long commute and a decent amount of travel became difficult. So I guess I jump-started the career sooner than expected. So I think that this is a career that is increasingly terrific in terms of people who are caregivers or semi-retired or just looking for a little more independence in their lives. The challenges are incredible. And for me, I think the 5 questions really do reflect some of the things that I struggled with the most early in my consulting. So it's actually very exciting and gratifying to be able to help people move through what can be very confusing and vexing times as quickly as possible.
That's great. Don, any insights on your experience?
Well, I've been a capacity builder in the nonprofit world since 1986, and I started consulting in 1993. And most of my work has been in the field of executive transitions, helping nonprofit organizations manage the turnover in CEO positions and other C-suite positions. I've written a couple books on that topic. I think the thing that strikes me, though, about my own path in consulting is that having been an executive director and having been an executive in other organizations and other nonprofits, is the sense of freedom and contribution, and to a certain extent being able to control your financial destiny better than you can as an employee. I think that's one of the things that really strikes me about consulting is the opportunity to find your voice, and also kind of as Susan pointed out, that there's a path here, but really the opportunity and the freedom to follow that path. I started off doing planning work and thinking I was going to actually started off doing policy, came out to Washington to work on public policy and took one look at Washington and said, not for me. Quickly pivot to planning work, and then that led me into the executive transition and succession planning arena. And so would I have been able to do that as an employee? Yeah, if I shift jobs, but as a consultant, I could simply start to learn and morph. And I think that's the other thing, is that this is really a great opportunity, really to kind of satisfy your curiosities. I'm sorry, that was a kind of long-winded, somewhat sales pitch on the idea for consulting, but that's been my experience.
Fair enough. You can still do the work you love by having a little bit more control and a little bit more freedom. So that's really, really sound insight. I also think
that there's the opportunity to kind of, and we're going to talk about this a little bit in the webinar, because one of the things is that you come into it thinking that you're skill set, your nonprofit background and your particular technical or content skills are going to be what's going to win the day. But there actually are a number of other things that at least I had to learn along the way, business skills, consulting presence, and just the whole process and the craft of consulting.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, if you're trying to learn the craft of consulting, I think definitely coming to the webinar is a good place to start as you develop that. So as everyone starts to develop their craft, I wanted to ask, what is one thing that participants will be able to do right after the webinar to get started?
Sure. I'd say that one of the exciting things, if you're currently undecided about consulting, is that we've got a terrific quiz, which is an assessment of whether you're ready to consult. So I think if you're on the fence or you've started and are kind of wondering, is this really the path that I want to take? You can pretty quickly go there and have a fairly decent idea of whether this is the time for you.
Yeah, I think I would add to that. I think that's one of the things that we designed into the webinar was really to kind of answer that larger question, whether or not this is the right, field or right career choice or right business choice for me. Because oftentimes people come into it, like I said earlier, thinking that it's all about the technical skills and the content knowledge and imparting that. And there's a lot more to having a successful consulting business than just that technical piece.
Great. Well, we've gotten to know a lot about your professional backgrounds, but we'd love to learn a little bit about you personally as well. So we're not just talking heads on the interspace here. So, Don, I'd love to ask you, what are you currently reading and what are you liking about it?
I'm a fan of John Acuff. This is his latest book. It's finished. He's written a book on START. He's written books on, he writes basically about career transitions and success. And what I love about it is that he spends a lot of time, kind of blowing up the myth of that we can do it all. Like one of the pieces of advice that he offers is choose what to bomb. Cut your goal in half so that it's more manageable, that you'll actually do it, you'll actually follow through. And that's the whole point of finish.
Yep, sound advice. Susan, any favorite reads on your end?
Sure. Well, I read a lot of nonfiction as well. So just to be a little different, since I've got a few things in the hopper, I'll say that I'm currently reading The Ninth Hour by Anne McDermott, mostly because she was a speaker at a lecture group I go to and was fantastic and inspiring, and an amazing writer for any of you reading and writing buffs out there. And I'll say, I'm just thinking about this now, but it's particularly apt for this podcast and the people watching, because I'd say it's a book really that explores the idea of selflessness. And so many people in this field, and consultants as well as in-house staff, are really incredibly selfless people. And in my work, whether it was in-house doing fundraising, in the foundation fundraising realm, as I'm sure many of your listeners are in that boat right now, or as a consultant, I feel like I'm just continuously inspired in this field by people who are just so selfless. And this book is an incredible exploration of people who just give up pieces of themselves in so many ways for others. So it's actually a terrific read on that front, as well as the writing front.
Well, it looks like there's definitely inspiration out there for all of us trying to do good. So for anyone who's, considering starting their own business and needs a little inspiration to get over the hump, we encourage you to join us on October 25th. Be sure to register before October 18th to receive our early bird special discount of $49. As that rate will increase after the fact. So register soon and save your spot. If you can't attend the webinar live, you will always get the recording for any of our webinars. So make sure to register before the price increases. Again, register by October 18th. We hope everyone can join us live, as we will have a very lively Q&A with Don and Susan. And with that, I wanted to say thank you, everyone, and have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.